where a business lists their services. They list their services based on the area that they're in, their price point, and they are listed under a category. After they're listed under a category, you come in as the person who's planning your particular event, and you say, I am looking for
A caterer.
I am looking for a cow. So as bridezillas, I have dealt with groomzillas.
Oh.
They exist. There is mother-in-law zillas. Right? I was once, when I was doing invitations, called into a family meeting. There was a family zilla.
Families.
There was families. After they have listed their service, it's our job to go look at the profile of the business. We check them out on social media platforms and so forth to see if they do actually exist and what their following is and if they're verified. If we find that they're not aligned with us, we then, we've got the power to actually take them off the platform. Couples are now going, which is also the divorce thing that I'll come into. Couples are going into weddings broke. And we've got those guys who sing la 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 la, like those ones that come with the gees and the whole excitement on the traditional side of things. My family is pretty much suburban, but I do like to have those aunties who can sing and didieta and do all of those, and sometimes you need to hire those.
That's true.
Sometimes you might need to hire
hires. Welcome back to Something Else Today podcast. I am your host, DJ Makhetha, and today we are joined by the Chief Visionary Officer of the Traditional Events Directory, Motsabi Makhetha, who, if you are now scrambling because Valentine's is coming, she's got your back. She has the platform that has the Valentine plugs, that has the private chefs, that has the catering if you're looking for some catering. But anyway, she's going to tell us all about that. And of course, we have our ghost AC in the background also joining us. So definitely, AC, the devil's advocate. Do not devil's advocate for Valentine's. You are married.
Every day is Valentine's. Isn't that what they say?
You know, hi, Tavi, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks, and you, my lovely lady.
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you.
You look amazing.
Thank you very much.
Did you find the makeup artist on the TED website?
On the Traditional Events Directory, yes, I actually did. I put out a request and she replied. She was in Centurion. And yeah, I put through what I required and she popped up.
I see.
And did the things.
Did an amazing job. You're looking amazing. Welcome to the podcast. So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, to start off with, who am I? So I'm the Chief Visionary Officer of the Traditional Events Directory, but in my main capacity, I'm a go-to-market manager, and that's what my expertise is go-to-market, right? And that means I take products to market. I understand what the different sides of what people need, so who's selling, and pretty much who's on the receiving end of things, and create strategies to send products to market. So that's what I do in my main job, right? I'm also a PhD candidate of the University of Pretoria, of which the platform is actually part of my study as well. So I've done a lot of reading up and so forth in the traditional and eventing space. My first qualification was actually in events. So I'm a qualified chef. I just don't cook anymore. But fully qualified chef, have been in the eventing space. So I fully understand what literally goes into it. And yeah, that's a little bit of me. The last born of 3 amazing daughters. My parents are awesome, still alive. Grew up in Joburg, but originally from Lesotho.
Lesotho, oh, okay.
Yes.
So mushweshwe.
Through and through. But I am literally, if I can sum myself up in one sentence, I am my ancestors' wildest dream come true, pretty much. And I'm a blessed hand, God's favorite.
Amazing. Great. AC, what do you think of that intro?
Oh,
Clock
I clocked it. So when you say that UP is you're doing your PhD at UP, and they're your client as well. Did I get that right?
No, they're not my clients. I'm just doing my PhD with UP. And part of doing a PhD is you actually require access to a subset of data and people that you can interview. And normally what happens is most companies are very iffy in regards to their information and so forth. So because the platforms belong to me and I have met the POPIA rights and within the terms and conditions on the traditional events directory and in my other business invites by her, I also have full access to all the data and I don't need permission in order to actually use that.
Amazing. So what inspired you to start Marketing by Her, and how does it tie back to TED and Invitations by Her?
Okay, so I started Invitations by Her because I had a very big creative side that I wasn't like quite letting go of, and I still loved the event side of things. So I thought, we really don't have invitations that have mikoroto, which is the Sotho hats, and imbako, and all of those things at that time when I think I started in 2019. And I thought to myself, let me start creating on Canva. Let me teach myself how to create invitations. So I started. But in this process of creating invitations, you deal with a lot of brides and grooms and so forth. And the next thing that they ask you is, thanks, you've done our invitation. Now, can you suggest a caterer? Can you suggest a tent person? Can you suggest a makeup artist? And I just didn't have the access to that. That's when I realized that we actually need a network where everybody can suggest everybody, and people who can actually put their businesses on can be seen by people who are looking to plan their events and cut out all the mess and the noise that you see on your social media platforms, right? And because now there was TED by Her coming up, the traditional events directory, and invites by Her, I then decided, you know what? Over and above all of this, it's a marketing business overall. I've created a marketplace. And in the marketplace, there's different events that support the event space. So Marketing by Her is the parent company, and under Marketing by Her is the traditional events directory, it's Invitations by Her, and then there's also Memories by Her. But yeah, today we're discussing traditional events directory.
So many. I think it's amazing. So you said you started the invitations business, but people were asking you, where can I find this person? Where can I find that person? So you're saying most of these businesses are operating on word of mouth.
Correct. So most of them operate on word of mouth. And I got married in Durban, right? And in getting married in Durban, having lived in Joburg, I struggled a lot in finding suppliers in Durban, right? For example, our photographer was from Durban. I got married in the South Coast by Ramsgate side, more closer to Eastern Cape than to actually Durban. So our photographer was from Durban. The makeup artist, I had to drive down from Johannesburg. And I'm sure they are fabulous. We've got them now in the traditional events directory. Fabulous makeup artists that you could have found in Durban and even in the Ramsgate and Eastern Cape, early Eastern Cape area. But it didn't exist at the time. So a lot of the stuff we had to pull in from where we know and from suppliers that we know of, because simply we don't know where to find them. So solving that problem as well.
So just so I can understand it fully, if I have an event and I need a certain service provided, I go into your website and then I can find a number of service providers, or are you guys actually providing the service? Or do you have listings of people that can provide the service on the website?
Okay, so we are a marketplace. So think about it like the Yellow Pages.
Oh.
Where a business lists their services. Yeah. They list their services based on the area that they're in, their price point, and they are listed under a category. After they're listed under a category, you come in as the person who's planning your particular event, and you say, I am looking for
a caterer.
I am looking for a cow. I am looking...
Oh,
that's why it's the traditional events.
You're hitting this side of him now.
Because it actually goes over and above your general wedding things. I wanted a platform that represents suppliers from people who have beads, to people who have wedding venues, to people who slaughter cows and have sheep and goats, all the way to people who do traditional attire and makeup artists. So like a one-stop shop where even if you're not doing a wedding, but you're doing an umbako, umgidi, or anything along those lines, you're able to then go, I want this person and I want them here. And as on the back of the word of mouth thing, if you don't live in the Eastern Cape, you don't know who the best suppliers in the Eastern Cape are. But based on the traditional events directory, you can actually go there and check who's rated. in the Eastern Cape.
Nice. I was slaughtering a cow in December. So can I register on your platform to provide slaughtering cow services?
Hey, if you're really good, we might have to test you out. Lerato might just put you to
So
check.
what do you need for someone to register? Say I slaughter cows. What would you need from me?
So we simply require somebody to register their service. It's actually quite easy. So at the beginning of creating a marketplace, you take in everybody, right? And in taking in everybody, you then, after they have listed their service, it's our job to go look at the profile of the business. We check them out on social media platforms and so forth to see if they do actually exist and what their following is and if they're verified. If we find that they're not aligned with us, we then we've got the power to actually take them off the platform. We do send them a mail to say, unfortunately, your services are not aligned with what we would like to offer on the traditional events directory. So hold on.
Okay, but now if it's a person that slaughters a cow, right? Normally it would be an older malumi that slaughters the cow, that knows, that has the experience to do so. Because I see in the townships they take a gun and they shoot the cow, and that's not how you do it. That is not how you do it. So that malumi might not have social media, but they could have reputation. Is there a way they can prove their business?
That's why we have Lerato on the back end and reaching out to people going, hey, how are you? Fine, thanks. And you've seen that you've listed. Do you have a few references that we can actually reach out to you and just have a chat about you? We try as much as possible to check. But the reality is, especially with anything, I'm sure you've seen with the likes of your Airbnbs and when they were first coming up, you had a lot of dodgy places being listed that actually didn't exist. And once the platform grew properly, they then put the security measures and were able to manage it. But first you need to start. And while you start, you then see what other parameters can we put in order to protect the customer on the back end.
Yeah, so you've started. What parameters have you started putting through? Especially, now that you said you spoke about the POPIA Act earlier on, protecting someone's personal details and stuff like that. What parameters have you set?
So in terms of POPIA Act, remember, we've got our terms and conditions, and our terms and conditions are very clear. If you're going to be putting your details out, you're putting your details out for our people, firstly, to contact you in regards to the event that you're having. Because also, if we can't find you, the person that is currently listed on our profile, we have 250 businesses now. And that is a far cry for where we would actually like to be and in terms of coverage for the country. So that means we'll then, we're not going to advertise your details, but we'll advertise your event. We're not going to give the address, and we're not going to give anything along those lines. Just whoever is looking for this here. And once they come on the traditional events directory, there's a payment portal before they can actually access your details. Right? So it's not that they are free and readily available on the internet. The only two people that have actually view to see who is where and what are the back end details is myself and Lerato. So nobody else can see unless they've actually paid for those details and they're willing to use them for hopefully reaching out to you in order to offer you the service that they're offering. Right? Secondly, the thing that we do is, like I've said, from a supplier perspective, we then interact with our suppliers. We look at the back end. We try and get as much verification as possible that they actually exist. We go into their comments sometimes and see if the people that have used them, what have the people had to say about them and their services and so forth. And is this the person who actually is represented here? Some people can actually put in fake pictures also. So
AI is such a strong...
AI is a strong thing. Social media allows you to screenshot anybody's work and put it up there, right? So if you're a photographer, I ask you, as a photographer, you should have a page. I should be able to go onto your page or anywhere else where you do have some sort of visibility, and so you can check, is what you've put there actually, does it belong to you? And can you offer it to the people that are on the traditional events directory?
That's very, very interesting. So there's also been stories on social media where you hear that vendors for these events actually lure the business, not really, the vendors, like a pretend vendor or a pretend client would lure a person into the saying, I need a service from you, can you please do this for me? And then you show up last minute and then they actually rob you of your things and stuff like that. So what do you think of that situation?
That's funny because we're actually having the same discussion with the makeup artist that I was having earlier on today. And I was saying to her about how it's so difficult to bring different service suppliers into your home, right? And then she was saying that's one thing, but on our side as a makeup artist, the discernment that I need to have when somebody wants to book me, especially last minute, is this person actually going to mug me? And she was telling me of incidents where they were mugging makeup artists, so luring them in for last minute things. And she was actually lured into Sunnyside, but she didn't go. So lady wanted to book last minute thing in Sunnyside. She wanted to pay the upfront payment. She said, don't take your car because there's no parking, come ka Uber. But she just listened to firstly Sunnyside, firstly last minute, and she said it was for a shoot. Then she said, what's your call thing, your call cycle? Because you should have a call cycle. You should have a shoot schedule of sorts that you can share with me so I can see that it's a valid shoot. I need something that you can give me to confirm that I actually am going to where I can trust, right? And the lady was like, no, I will even pay double because I know it's last minute. But she just felt in her spirit that there's something that's not right about this lady, and she did not go through, thank goodness, right? So the reality is, this is the country that we live in, right? And as much as, and that's why I inputting the traditional events directory, I'm trying as much as possible to make sure that I am not representing people who are going to scam people. And that's why we've got the references and reviews side of things. So there's a thing there. So if somebody doesn't show up, if somebody takes your money and they come in with half the food on the day, if somebody scams you and so forth, come onto the platform and we then will have the ability to get them off, but also the ability with the following that we have to put them on and say, guys, scammer.
Yeah, because it is happening. I mean, I saw a video of a celebrity who was actually crying on Mapepanda, was saying, you know, they send a friend somewhere now, they're mugging them. The friend tried to call for help, but they could say it was so bad and they needed help to try and locate the friend, and they were in Kempton Park. I'm not saying anything about Kempton Park, but they were in Kempton Park. So hence, we had to ask. So when a vendor from the traditional event directory drops a client last minute, how do you deal with that? How does your platform deal with that?
So at that point, we're not responsible for that, right?
Okay.
And I say we're not responsible for that because remember, we are a meeting place. We are a directory. If you call that person and that person does you grimy, that's why I say we've got the review side of things. The best thing that you can do is tell us that I got this person on your platform and this is what they did. And based on the review, we then firstly blast them as dodgy, right? And then secondly, we remove them off. So that's the last person that they can actually ever do that to on our platform.
Okay.
I actually had a run-in with Mihlali on random day. And I was like a little starstruck. But I asked her, and I was like, can I ask you a question? And she was like a bit apprehensive because she has a similar platform on her side. And I asked her, I'm starting something similar to what you've got, right? And what is your biggest challenge on your platform? And her thing was, it's vetting. How do we properly 100% vet that the suppliers who they say they are and they're going to deliver the offering that we expect them to? That is the biggest challenge.
AC?
Yeah, no, I know vetting is troublesome. I mean, we see it even with people that have submitted all their documents with the e-hailing drivers, you know, all the stories that come out there. So I think it's just a challenge to overcome. And I think as you go on with the business, the more you do it, the more you vet people, the more you receive the feedback from the clients, I think the better you become. But I just want to know with the traditional event versus, because I've seen the other events guys, but they are more contemporary, let me say. So what do you think is the biggest difference between the traditional side versus the regular, modern
Regular
event space?
So are you asking in terms of my competitors?
No. Like for a traditional event, what are the things that you might need that people might not think of versus when you're having a regular event like a white wedding or versus a traditional wedding?
Okay. So, for example, not a lot of people actually know where to find. There's a lot of places where you can find white wedding dresses, right? But where do you find your Xhosa signed off mbaqo? Where do you find that beautiful beads? Yeah, right. Then also there's entertainment. We've got people who play the saxophone and the violin on that side, but then we've got those guys who sing la 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 la, like those ones that come with the gees and the whole excitement on the traditional side of things. My family is pretty much suburban, but I do like to have those aunties who can sing and didieta and do all of those. And sometimes you need to hire those.
That's true.
Sometimes you might need to hire.
Hires.
No, she's right. I mean, but I mean, there's dancers, there's people who have to come and do the traditional dances too. Sometimes most of your family, like she's saying, could be suburban. And then they're not used to the dances. They're not really,
So see, let's go back to your wedding. Ne?
Yes.
Did you hire the alililis?
No. So I got divorced before we actually did the traditional side of things. So I did the white wedding first.
So you didn't get to the
we did
alilili
lobolas,
side,
and then after lobolas, we then had the white wedding, and then we were still supposed to do the amugeling of both families, bride and groom, after the white wedding was done. But by then I was like, I do limo.
Were you going to, or do you have enough people in your family that could have done it?
So we actually get them from Lesotho. So we hire a bus, and that's the reality of it. We hire a bus. We hire a praise singer who knows Isthakazelo.
Yeah.
Zetu, like, because I don't know. I hear them, I can, whatever. I've got them written, but I don't say them with that high, that poeticness, that Zwakembuliness of it. It doesn't come out the same way. But it's so nice when you've got like a praise singer who's singing your praises. Or so sort of when my sister got married, we actually got a group from Soweto that do the tolobonga, that wearing those plastic skirts and with the bum dancers. And then we got a man who plays an accordion, which is traditional Soweto, and we got them from Soweto. So it's that kind of platform where groups like that, who can make your event authentic. You can find those because your family is just like tolobonga for who we can twerk, but
how's I saying, even at funerals they hire like people who cry sometimes. Is that not true? They
Chief
do,
mourners.
Right? Yeah. Mourners. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, no, they have that wail, that that one. The high pitched one. But what I actually realized, we had a funeral in my family like now in December, and what I realized is that we have gotten out of the thing of singing Difela. We grew up with Difela, those traditional songs that are sung. They're sung in Xhosa, they're sung in Sotho, they're sung in Zulu as well, right? We found ourselves singing Amazing Grace, and I'm like, guys, this is such a hlazo that we are fighting a black man with Amazing Grace. Like, where can we find a choir that can still bring out the hymn book and the notes?
I think it's time for us to grow up, guys. What do you think? We need to go back to we need to learn this thing. Hey, right? Like we are there now. We are the elders. We're supposed to be singing those songs now.
But the accessibility of it has always been a thing, and where you actually end up jumping that part of tradition because of the accessibility, and that's where the traditional events directory then fits in, because now you don't have to jump that part of tradition because it's accessible. You can have those Zulu dancers who come in and who come with the bride and who gita and do all the stuff. You buy them a case of beer and you pay them whatever it is that you pay them, and they're good to go. But they bring the Zulu-ness or the Sotho-ness back into your event.
The vibe, the traditional vibe.
Yeah, and I think the ancestors would be pleased, that you are still keeping their traditions alive, I'm assuming. But this is very, very interesting because I also see here you have cleaning services that you've listed. How does cleaning services tie back into
yes, that's actually quite a big one, and that I've never thought of. And in actually starting the traditional events directory, there's some quite interesting business that I never thought of that actually are needed. For example, we are quite bougie right now where we live like in places like this, where your aunts can't move in 2 days before and deep clean your house, right? These people come in and they deep clean, they wash all the windows, they do everything. And then on the day after everybody has gone, they come back and they put your house back to normal again. But also on top of it, they wash those pots. You know those silver pots that you hire that nobody wants to? They come with the skir pot and they vim to come wash those pots and to put your life back towards itself. And anything that you've hired that's additional, like these Dijana. Guys, aunties and even myself, I'm showing up to weddings and funerals these days with my nails here. In my time, there used to be the auntie who goes, where's the dish? Let's go wash the dishes. We don't do that anymore. So that's where these cleaning services come in.
Or about peeler, they peel.
How about tobakata hoja? They clean the plates. Once they're done cleaning the plates, they go wash the plates for you so that when your person that you hired from comes, they find, firstly, the stuff is cleaned, counted, washed, in the corner, ready to be picked up.
Wow. What about the waiters? I saw something about waiters at a wedding where you actually hire waiters to serve people at the wedding at their seated positions instead of people queuing, and then someone ends up taking 5 drumsticks instead of 1, and then now the head count for the food is just not it. What about those?
We have about 3 waitering services. Waiter, and they call them ushers. So there's waitering and ushering. And their service literally comes from the gate. Where do we park?
Oh.
Right? They get people from the gate, the ushers. That's why it's not just waiters. We welcome you. Oh, you're the family of the groom, this side. Oh, you're family of the wife, this side. Oh, you're looking for bathrooms, that side. Oh, you're looking for water. Let's hand out all the water bottles. They're there. Oh, we need to pick up all the water bottles. Let's pick them up. We're there. Somebody's looking for a drink. They're on the back end to watch and make sure that your people are actually having an enjoyable experience while being given drinks and being taken care of. And their questions are forever answered without asking, who is what? They're the runners. They're busy running around all the time, making sure your event goes seamlessly and beautifully.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, because like one of the lowlights of an event is going to queue for food, and now if the queue is like too long and stuff, so if you have an usher who's going to come and take your order, if you're still chilling, you can have a conversation with the people around your table rather than waiting in the queue. And it just I think it just makes sense. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing idea. Have you thought of having security listed as well? Because of, in case I become a celebrity and I need to get married at home. I don't want.
Hey.
Not as yet. I think if there's one, not security, I think security has not been requested. So the nice thing about the traditional events directories, it's literally being molded by the people who are using it. And as the people use it and as the people request the services, we then see what is missing. The first thing, though, that I've seen is missing is transport. And I didn't think of that because you think of so many things. I didn't add transport. There are people who are sitting with beautiful cars who would love to rent them out for a weekend or usher people to just drop them off with their Bentley there by the church and then drive off and make however much out of them. Right? There's vintage cars. There's all of that hasn't been added on the traditional event. So that's one of the first things that we're going to add on, because cars has been a request, and there are people who have had cars who are reaching out to us and saying, do you have a spot for transportation? There's Vitos. There's a lot of Vitos, buses. There's a lot of transportation that happens with weddings, funerals, and everything else, but we haven't factored that in. So that's the number one thing that will come on next before security.
So to everybody watching, I do suggest that you check out the traditional events directory so that you do not become a bridezilla, because everything is there, everything you need so you can function. Because I've seen, sometimes I remember someone was getting married, it was a lobola, and they were serving everybody food. They're like, no, sit down now. I'll just serve. They're like, no, you can't sit down. What are my in-laws going to say? And I'm like, but now you're not enjoying your day. It's your lobola. It's you becoming Mrs. Something, but now you're not enjoying it because you're trying to. I think it also helps, alleviate some stress, like reduce some stress for the bride as well. Correct. And the expectations as well. Everybody is happy, because the people that are coming to serve understand the market, understand the people they're serving. Well, okay, I'm serving Zulu people today. I'm not looking at men in their eyes. I'm gonna serve properly. For example. So, what do you think contributes to someone being a bridezilla?
Can I also tell you, it's attitude, eh?
Oh.
I always find bridezillas don't become bridezillas just because they're getting married.
Wait, hang on. What's a bridezilla?
So a bridezilla is somebody who, without lacing my language with profanity, right?
Yeah.
Whose requests make your left eyebrow go up and go and
as the bride.
No, as the service provider. So they request a lot, and they don't always request it in the nicest of ways. And then once you've delivered and you've put the thing there, no, you haven't put it in the right place. Move it here.
Oh, okay.
Who said you must put it there? Now move it there. Right? Where you've agreed on yellow, and then the next day she wants canary yellow, and you've already bought and you've paid for all the flowers that are coming in, and she's like, and then she literally throws a whole fit. And also, as bridezillas, I have dealt with groomzillas. Oh. They exist. There is mother-in-law zillas. Right? I was once, when I was doing invitations, called into a family meeting. There was a family zilla. There was family zilla. So literally, as a service provider, you sometimes ki anti-zilla. It all depends on who's that person who feels so passionate about this, wants it to go so well, but also is in their day-to-day are difficult people. Most of the time, if a person is a really nice person, day-to-day, they tend not to be bridezillas, groomzillas, and family zillas.
So many zillas. So many zillas.
Many zillas.
So now, I see this, I read an article that says a lot of couples are now opting for one venue event where they want to have the white wedding, the traditional wedding, the after party at one event and finish on one day. So why do you think they're doing that? And how was it normally done in the past?
So the reality with all of these things is they're costly. And all of our families need to travel for each and every single one of these events. It's accommodation, it's food for all this. So can you imagine if you're having the white wedding, your traditional wedding, and the after party all in one spot. Venue hire, you've paid it once. Catering, you've paid it once. DJs, entertainment, sound, photographer, once. And each of these people have a traveling fee and. So it's a cost-cutting thing. And I really appreciate it because from an African perspective, we really have the most expensive weddings and funerals, right? And that's what my PhD study actually is around, is how do people actually pay for these kind of events and the traditional pressures that come in the back end that actually spike the spending. How many times have we seen the list of all the people that need to be dressed, from the kist of the blankets? And some families will even come and put in people that have passed and say, don't worry, Auntie's Banban will come take that blanket that is for granny or for whoever. All of that is a cost at the end of it. And couples are now going, which is also the divorce thing that I'll come into. Couples are going into weddings broke, right? And when the alililili has ended and the family is gone and the reality of Papa Kamoroho and rent and dikoloi and all those expenses that come in finally settle in, young couples are struggling. So, yeah, if you can put everything all in once and make it one thing and save your money to go into your marriage.
With a little bit of change.
With a little bit of change, by all means, please go for it.
Definitely. But now I think when you're talking about that, there's one element that you've also listed on TED that is very important. Counseling, lawyers and stuff. Because people go into these lobola celebrations without consulting a counselor, without consulting a lawyer, and then boom, you're married in community of property and you don't know.
Indeed. I think society has really put, I don't know if it's still a pressure thing on us females to get married, to the point where when that ring sits on your finger, you're the delulu that comes upon us. Like, all saints, and I mean, this is educated hands, right? All saints that you had literally goes out the window, right? And now with all of these things coming in, you actually do need to sign a prenup before that family sits down and has lobola with your family.
I saw that new law, right? Yeah. That is...
It's not a new law.
Is it not new?
They were reminding us.
Really?
They were reminding us. It's always been there.
Oh.
He's married.
I'm married, but
let's not ask what happened.
For me, my wife, she's like she's a financial advisor, so she knows all these things. So we had the discussion beforehand, and we spoke about it, and we already knew before Ngiyomlobola, it was already spoken. I'm not gonna say what we did, but me and her, we have 2 kids, so that was in consideration, because I don't feel like. Anyways, let me not say I don't feel like taking from my kids. I feel like if we separate whatever we have to divide it, because we share kids. You know what I mean? So we went into our negotiations with that considered. But I think I didn't know the law was already said that if you have your wedding after the lobola, you can't go back and now sign a prenup.
So do you know what the issue is in terms of customary law? So customary law has 3 prerequisites, right? There needs to be an agreement. So firstly, the agreement is the letter that we're going to meet. And in that agreement, there's an amount that's agreed upon and obviously paid at the first meeting, right? Where you'll say, okay, fine, get 10,000 rand. Let's just say your lobola is 10,000 rand. The family will come in good faith with 3,000 rand, right? After that, lunch will be had. That constitutes the celebration, right? And a lot of people use that celebration and people wearing the duku and standing there and saying,
To say
as
it's
the
lobola.
Proof of
we got married, because there was, the law says, has there been a celebration? Whether your celebration was us, there's how many of us? 6 of us in here, right? We could be a whole celebration as long as we're happy and I'm in this and you're holding me like this.
Wait, is it not about the money exchanging hands?
That's exchange.
Even if they give 2 rand.
The 3,000 rand has passed.
Even if I'm paying the restaurant?
Even if you're paying later.
Oh,
Even if you're paying later. But as long as an initial amount has been paid, right? And there's been an agreement that this is happening. And your family's accepted the initial amount. And we all smiled and had lunch. You're married in community property. Right? And I'm loving that your wife is a financial planner. I mean, in hindsight, if I were to get married again, right, the person who I'm going to get married to firstly needs to bring 3 months bank statements, right? And I'm not being funny.
I agree.
3 months bank statements. I need the ITC report from the credit bureau. Clear score, credit bureau. I need that ITC report, right? Also, I need to see payslip. If you're employed, payslip. If you're not employed, then bring your 6 months as a. No, but because you actually don't understand, when you get married into somebody's behaviors, and if you actually dissect what somebody buys and pays for, you can see this is an alcoholic, this is an overspender, this is a person that lives beyond their means. And if you see how much debt they have, that debt becomes your debt. Their behaviors become your burden, right? And that's why I say, when that ring is sitting here, it's shining, it's blessing you, you're not seeing and you're not thinking properly. But when you sit, I mean, I did that with my ex-husband, and once I sat and the ring has started blessing me and I realized how much debt and problems this person was in, I was like, oh my goodness. It was a shocker of all shocks, because I didn't ask for all those things. I had premarital counseling, but I didn't have premarital financial counseling. And that's what I think needs to be added in before you get married.
So then when you get divorced, does the debt go back to the previous owner, or?
And not if you're married in community of property.
Oh, then you have it in half.
No, so I had a prenup, thank goodness.
Okay.
I had a prenup. But also in having a prenup, right? They are things that we did together, right? And in the things that we did together, because I signed on that piece of that document, there were things I was then asked to take out and pay for outside of my affordability, because now I'm trying to keep up certain pretenses. That if I had actually read this person's payslip before, I would have seen this person is living beyond their own means. Therefore, I'm going to live beyond my own means. Therefore, I'm going to get into personal debt, trying to keep up faces and appearances with this person and his family and everybody else around us.
And I know prenups are different, right? There's a prenup with accrual and there's one without accrual. And I think a lot of people think once you sign a prenup, what's yours is yours and what's his is his. But that's not necessarily true, because
Fact.
if you have the one with accrual, I'm not sure if it's the other way around, but the one with accrual, whatever you get from the moment you guys are married, then that's in community of property, basically.
Correct.
And you guys split it in two.
But also, even if everything is not in community of property, for example, if you're buying a property together or you're renting a property together, and it is not with accrual, because I signed and you signed, we are both contractually bound to it.
Even after a divorce.
But which one do you recommend? Which prenup do you actually recommend? The one
Without
with
accrual.
Okay.
Ish. Are we still married? Are we still married if we go, hey?
Can I
man.
actually put it to you this way? A lot of people now start businesses and so forth, right? You now then marry your person and you decide to start a business venture. I had family members who actually dissolved and only just to redo their marriage again out of community of property without accrual in order to secure the family's financial standing. So if one person goes down, the company or the banks can only take one person's assets and not both your assets, meaning that your kids still have a home and still have another income to come home to.
Yeah.
But now if you're married in community of property with accrual, anything that you amass thereafter becomes fair game for anybody who's either coming after you or who's coming after your partner. So it's not about being married, it's about in the climate that we're in right now with its volatility. 2020 COVID took lots of businesses under, and how many couples that were married in community of property now had to, the wife also goes under, her assets also get taken because they're married in community of property and the husband's business has gone down or the wife's business has gone down.
But is it not safer? Because what if he gets rich? You see now, and then he decides to leave you.
It's a difficult one.
What if you get rich and now he's come up?
No.
You know what I mean?
Let's put it on his situation. What if he gets rich, ma'am?
Bophelo bo risky.
Ish.
Bophelo re risky. What if you drive out here, you get onto the highway and you get hit by a car? Who risk? It's all about where you're willing to hedge your bets and your risk. If he is rich, right, have him buy assets in your name. Because if you get, even if it was bought with his money, as long as it's in your name, you're fine.
Ladies, take notes.
Right? As long as it's in your name. If you're driving a car and that disc says boot ban, you're not okay. You're one step short of repossession. Let it be bought in your name.
So now that we're talking about these contractual obligations and seeing a legal person as well as seeing a counselor before the marriage, when is the right time? The day after she said yes, or
that's when the dilulu starts. It's too late.
No, remember the day after. Remember? I'm being honest. Remember the day after, it's like, I get it, there's a surprise proposal. Then the following day after the surprise proposal, that's when they do the thing, she said yes, not after the wedding. So after the proposal, is it when you start thinking and planning, when we're seeing a financial advisor, when we're seeing a lawyer?
Remember that thing they call dopamine? That high?
Yes.
That's where the delulu starts, because you're so excited to tell everybody that you're getting married. You're no longer thinking rationally, right? And that's why for me, you need to have those discussions with your person while you're dating and while you're working towards getting married. So by the time that ring gets popped, you understand where you are financially. You understand what your views are in terms of prenups. You understand what your views are in terms of family, traditional obligations, and all of that. Because people don't discuss these things. And after that wedding, we all plan towards a wedding and we don't understand them. The marriage starts the day after. And that's when reality hits. And it hits people in multiple ways. For example, marriage hits people in December now past. And I was listening to the radio stations where brides are complaining about having to spend time at their in-laws. Did you not know this before you got married to this person? Or you're going to have to go kotiza the whole of. And she's like, I've just taken time off kind regards. Now I'm makoti and now I'm on informal kind regards. I'm waking up and making dog and sweeping the lebala in the morning. What the heck? These are things that need to be discussed before you say I do to a person. In day to day, you're dating and you're there, you're sitting wherever it is at Uko, having your lunch or dinner, looking each other in the eyes. What's your mother like in December? What's her expectations if we were?
Then you chop the steak and then you just chew.
Okay, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. What is your view in regards to finances? And. We're not having those conversations.
Yeah, and how long is the kotisa in your culture?
How long is it?
4 weeks.
4.
4 weeks, a month.
The hell?
You must come stay for a month,
Let me not
so we
swear
can
on
see.
camera.
With which employment? Who's giving leave to go kotiza? I haven't seen kotiza leave. I know there's maternity leave. Which kotiza leave?
A month. We must come see. But
Imagine.
I would actually be interested to see if this law that we're talking about actually applies to other cultures, because I feel like, sorry to say, but like white people usually celebrate their engagement. Are they considered married then? Because it's a celebration, right?
But there was no letter.
But
There
an
was
engagement
no-
means we are gonna get married.
That
It's
actually
between-
would be quite interesting to find out, eh? Because Vela, there's an agreement. We all agree. The families came in and the families have now agreed that this is happening. And then,
And
well,
then
they don't
they're
really,
at the
but-
restaurant, they're celebrating.
and the champagne was popped. Eh? The Weber went poof.
So are they now in community of property? Oh, this only applies to black people.
That's actually quite a good question. I don't have the expertise to answer that, but that would actually be one to find out on.
So
Yeah.
you're saying customary law is almost race?
It's customary. You
It
know,
has
when they say
rice in it.
customary, they're already saying traditional black people.
It's
type of thing.
automatically assumed, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe the law, maybe we need to read the fine print again. Maybe it is stating that as long as you've celebrated black, white, or yellow,
That'll be interesting to find out.
you are-
Yeah.
that would be very interesting to find
That
out.
would be quite.
But we also need to look at the separation and the divorce rate in that manner as well. Because I think with us, we might have a higher one compared to the other ones. Because
think so?
they normally are in
No
love from the
ways.
age
No
of
We do
16.
have a higher one.
Because
There's-
they're in
there's
love
no
from the age of
ways, no
16.
ways, guys.
They've been together from the age of 16. At 22, they're getting married. And then it's settled. The families are happy.
There's no way.
As we meet
As
season 5.
traditionally, the parents will tell you, "Mfethu, hambe ubegezela." You know. I don't think other cultures will have that kind of tolerance to tribulations in marriages. They'll be like, "Yo, you can live him." Anyways, that's my. You don't think so?
So let me tell you what's currently happening, right? Females are now getting, I heard this on Hannah in the show the other day. Females are now getting access into jobs that were previously mainly man-owned. So we're getting to places where we've got our own money, right? Females are buying homes more than men are buying homes currently, right? We've got the financial mass, and I always say, hore, financial access actually prevents you to a certain extent against GBV, right? Because you've got options. If you slap me, and I know I've got my salary coming at the end of the month, I'm leaving, right? But if you slap me and I think, what am I going to eat tomorrow? How am I going to drive to wherever? What am I going to do? And those questions are not answered. I'm more likely to stay. And girls are becoming independent hands, which I absolutely love. That Begazela culture is ending very quickly.
But then you see, I'm saying like other races never had that culture to begin with. You know what I mean? They already had access to those jobs that black females are only getting access to now.
Right.
So I feel like, I don't know, we'll probably have to check the stats, but I feel like they were probably more empowered before black people were empowered.
Fact.
So I don't know. I'm not sure, but I feel like.
But also in terms of empowering, I don't know how many times, I mean, I had white friends, or not friends as such, but people who I went to school with. And they're blessed in the sense that if their parents retire or anything happens, firstly, they're the only child. Or they're one of two.
Yeah.
They don't have black tax.
True.
Which is also a financial burden that burdens a lot of marriages, where I marry you and then I realize that your sister is now my child. When was your sister? I didn't sign up. I knew we had my stepson, but I didn't know we got to CC Naya that I must now put through high school, varsity, and also I must now take money back to your parents at home. White people are like, I've got a nest egg. I'm like, oh, that's absolutely amazing. That's really lovely. Not all of them, but...
A nest egg, is that like a
trust
safety
fund?
Net? Oh, yeah, okay.
They've got pretty much a trust fund, and they're not fighting for the money with as much people as what we have to deal with or counter with when it comes to those unfortunate instances.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I mean, yeah, that's why the counseling is needed, so that we can talk about how much black tax you're paying and how much of that black tax am I supposed to sort of patch up in the house while there's
And the
money
black tax
leaving
doesn't
the
show up
household.
in the pay slips, does it? It's not going to show up in the...
Or like
RTC
SARS
report.
taking their money and then there's
It
a...
shows up. That's why I said the bank statement is needed. Because what is this 15,000 that you're paying every month? Who is it going to? That is a bank account and not necessarily a business. Who is it going to? And why is it an everyday payment? Right?
Yeah.
There are people who you find out have kids after you get married. And they've been paying papgeld and all of this stuff. And you didn't see it because you simply didn't ask for that 3-month bank statement and check.
Yeah. And then we also move on to the funeral part of it. You know, sometimes you get married, you're happy, and then boom, the husband dies or the wife dies, which is very, very sad, right? So how does TED event staff support families in such difficult times?
So we are a support end to... So most families, especially with funerals, have funeral policies.
Okay.
And funeral policies always have vendors who they deal with. But with our funerals, there's always the lead up to the funeral and the winding down after the funeral. Like I say, when the aunties move in and things happen, and then there's a prayer evening every night at 8 o'clock that needs cookies and that kind of thing. So that's where TED comes in. Anytime somebody passes away in our family, there's this cookie place that's called in Randburg where we go get cookies and then we travel all the way to Lesotho or to Bloemfontein or wherever it's happened with these cookies. And I was like... We're arriving 2 days later with stale cookies. Right?
Like scones?
Scones, yes.
Oh.
They're stale, after 2 days.
Why?
Right?
Why can't you cook them at the venue?
People are bereaved. You're going there to go help. You're not going to come there with the goodies, right?
Yeah.
But it would be better if you could jump on the traditional events directory and say, I'm about to pass Lady Brando, I'm going to into Bloem. Who bakes in Bloem? Look at who's rated. Order the scones there, pick them up, and they arrive there fresh. And people are not on the day of the funeral eating expired goodies.
Yeah.
Right? Also, just like I say, the cleaning services, the ushering services. Yes, your funeral policy comes in, and they're like, yeah, this is the basic thing that we have. But somebody like me or Lerato comes in and says, no, but let's add ushers. We are going to give him a dignified of the dignified of funerals. That's up the level, and they come there. You've seen them, Babrudi, with their bow ties and their whatevers and their little hats, and they bring some sort of class to an event, right? So it's TED would be a support to those additional services to say, how do you elevate the people who want water, labeled water? They'd find it on the traditional events directory. There are people who want programs done in a certain way. They'd find them on the traditional events directory.
Amazing. So do you have grief? Does the counseling also allow for grief counseling?
All types.
Is it important to have grief counseling before the funeral or after the funeral has happened?
After.
After? Why?
I say after the funeral because the minute somebody passes away, you get into that adrenaline mode. Remember when I said marriage and then there's that adrenaline mode? It's we need to contact whoever, this needs to be done, has whoever been contacted. You then go and see grave sites. You are in such a mode that you don't actually deal with your feelings.
You don't sit in the grief.
You don't sit in the grief. That last day after that last family member walks out the door, and you then sit and you realize that that chair over there is empty and this person used to be watching Generations at this time, is when that grief hits, and that's when you need assistance. And that's when you need the continuous support to help you through the cavity that this person has left in your life. You don't feel it for that first week when we're running around planning. You don't feel it. And that's when you'll find a lot of people that when you go support them, they're fine. Because they're actually in adrenaline mode. Let's get things done. Let's get this done. Let's plan this. Plan that. Let's plan that. It keeps them busy. And they're so busy they don't have time to actually deal with their grief. So after. For me, would be the best. After.
Noted. But now there's something I've heard controversial on social media, that someone said that you don't sit on the mattress and grieve during the grieving period because you wake up and you won't have a house, for example, or you won't have your assets anymore. You find that the family members have... Why you say That's what someone said. So do you have a grief bestie to be with you to make sure you don't get scammed by the family members?
I'll start with my mother.
Okay.
So this is a conversation she had, and she reminded us in December. Right? She's not going anywhere anytime soon. She keeps on saying, my daughters, God forbid anything happens to me. Before you cry and you call the family, pack up the house. She says, pack up all my main dishes, leave the basic of the basics. That's
so
my
what the
mom.
heist?
Eh?
Like
no, my mom said before you decide to fall into your whatever, pack my stuff into take it to storage.
Oh, okay.
Make sure that all my Carol Boys linen and everything else has been secured. Secure the La Crusade. Then call the family and everybody else who comes with the family and the people to come grieve, because there are people in your kitchen opening drawers, and it's not also necessarily family members. It's the people that come with to come help. More, and sometimes, especially you've seen Soweto, right? I've been to multiple funerals where we're family. Somebody walks in. We're not sure if this person is family or not, but because I know you and I know you, I'm just assuming that he's part of the thing because he looks like he's grieving. But you don't know whether he's coming to take, whether she's coming to help, or you never know who's walking in your house at that moment. The security is just so lax during that time of people coming in and out. You don't know what's walking out of your house. So no, before you grieve, secure your goodies. That's my mother's advice.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's something we have to consider, man.
Like I'm giving it to AC.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's a reality. Like the wedding I was at, where I slaughtered the cow. Successfully, by the way, with one hit.
Apparently they charge you per hit.
Yeah.
But it's your fault that you couldn't kill the cow in one hit.
There's a price that they charge. I think, how much is it?
I mean, it's kind of like bragging rights, right?
Oh,
like
yes.
If you don't get it in the first hit and you have to kind of do it twice, 3 times, you're kind of putting the cow through a lot of distress, and the meat is not going to taste nice. That's what they say.
I like the social media safety language that you guys just used right now. You're putting the cow in distress.
You're putting it in distress. But also, there were literally people who were watching that no one steals the meat. You know what I mean? When we're cutting the meat up, there were people who were there.
So there's cow security. Okay.
Yeah, it was basically cow security, but they had to be from the family, so that their interest is the same interest as the family's interest. So there were people who had to come and watch that no one is kind of having their own plastic and taking the meat to their place and stuff. So it's kind of sad. Yeah, it's sad that these are things that we have to consider.
There are funerals and weddings where we've gone to, not family ones, but like Makhetha for stuff, where we found people are like, there's a pot missing and the pot is sitting in somebody's car. Like full-on pot of meat missing. They go missing at these events. You don't know the intentions. When you open up your home to somebody, you don't know the intentions that they're coming with.
This is why you do need that security added there.
Point where you're like, hey, where are you going with the pot? They must have whatever.
Oh. And they know that it's security.
Pot stealer. Good bimba.
So we are going to move on to closing questions. So how do you see the future of event planning evolving in South Africa?
So I see the future of event planning becoming a lot more formalized, like other aspects. Other day I actually went onto LinkedIn, and in LinkedIn, and you search events companies, events businesses, we're not represented on that place, right? Like we don't have representation there. I would like, in my future of the traditional events directory, is to have a TED day in different provinces, right? Where we all know all the businesses come together. Imagine like a festival that's based on events. You've got the stage where you've got the violinists playing, the people by Gitang, the people by Ditolobonya, all the traditional dancers on the stage entertaining the crowd. You have stalls from the people by Pandi Stampo and all the different caterers showcasing the catering that they do. You have a cookie and dessert stand of all the people that do desserts and confectionaries. Then you have a stage of fashion where people are coming down the row with traditional Sesotho dresses, traditional Xhosa dresses, Zulu dresses, beads, and so forth. And you're just having a day immersing yourself in culture and picking out which suppliers do I actually want for mine, but not like a wedding in Daba kind of thing where we've already had those kind of things where they've got them at Gallagher Estate or wherever it is and they're all there and they're formal. No, like a full interaction day where you can eat, enjoy the music, see the fashion, and get to interact with all of the suppliers. I'd like us all to have one home for all of that. And that for me is why I'm building the traditional events directory. There's currently about 3 million businesses that exist from formal all the way to SMME starting up that exist in the eventing, that support the eventing space, your cleaning, your toilets, your fridges, your security, all of those that exist. And I'd like them to all have a home that we all call ours, that we helped create.
That's amazing. AC, any closing questions?
I want to know what the website is.
So that's www.tedbyher.com.
TED by her.
TED by her. So short for the traditional events directory. Nobody's going to type out the traditional events directory.
That's how we ended up with said podcast, something else today.
Yeah.
You see? Because we didn't want anyone to type such a long word. Amazing. Everybody, please do check out the traditional events directory at www.tedbyher.com. .com.
Oh, you got that .com.
All right. So if
okay.
you are getting married soon, you have a traditional events coming up, whatever the likes are, or you're just late on Valentine's Day and you'd like to book someone to help with your makeup for your date, or some roses, or some catering, or a private chef in the house, do check out traditional events directory at www.tedbyher.com. And don't forget to subscribe and like our page at Said Podcast on all social media platforms. And I am your host, DJ Makhetha, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.